wonderful morning, excellent afternoon, and magnificent evening. This is Carla from MindPlore with Carla and Friends. And today we are talking about what is your reality. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about people having a reality, but are our realities really different, or are they the same? I feel that they're different because where Victor grew up, or even where my parents grew up, or my sister or brother, we see life differently. And depending on how we see life, we grow and we develop. I am very happy to say that I have Victor Irving Jenkins here, who has been on the show many, many times. I have Huzaifa, who you're getting to know. And what's on your shirt, Huzaifa? It almost looks like a pajama top. What's on your shirt? Open up your mic and tell me, please.
I don't know that he can even hear us because his expression has not changed since he came on.
Yeah, I think he may need to go out and come back. He'll be back. And Huzaifa, just go out and restart and come again. And of course, I have Dr. Gayathri Deshmukh, who is sort of at this point taking over Jean's place. Having said that, I'm really excited about the topic. I'm very excited about what we are doing today. And I want to pass the mic on to Gayathri, Dr. Gayathri, and we will take it from there.
Thank you so much, Carla. Hello, everybody, and welcome to MindPlore with Carla and Friends. When John Lennon said, reality leaves a lot to the imagination, ever wondered what that must have meant? It is a classic antithesis, talking about reality and then saying that it is the ultimate imagination. How many of us are aware of this concept called as virtual reality? If you are a millennial, if you are a Gen Z, virtual reality is your reality. And we have Huzaifa in the room. So Huzaifa, there is some disturbance thank you so much, Huzaifa, for yes, Carla.
I muted him. Huzaifa, you need to get into a quiet room. There's too much noise in your background. I'm happy to have you, but please do that. Thank you. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. So everybody knows about virtual reality. It's the whole computer-generated environment where objects appear real, making the users feel that it is real and they are immersed over there. And that prompted a modern age spiritual revolutionary Sadhguru to just point it out to us that our entire life is a virtual reality, he says, because you are seeing it only the way it happens in your mind. Our entire life is a virtual reality. Yes. So that is what Sadhguru said. Your entire life is a virtual reality because you are seeing it only the way it happens in your mind. And when I read that, it just hit me that what Carla said in the beginning of the show was so right. What is my reality may not be yours, because technically we all live in our own realities. There are several other people who came up with some wonderful thoughts like your opinion is not my reality. But then, if somebody's opinion is not our reality, then what is our reality? Maybe our beliefs. And if that is the case indeed, then I think what Anton St. Martin said is something we all need to live by. Choose your beliefs wisely, for they will become your reality. And if our beliefs are indeed becoming our reality, if everybody has his or her own reality, and if reality is indeed a virtual reality because it's happening all in our mind, then it's very important that our mind is open, our mind is clear, which is how I think that if you have discovered your reality, if you have understood your reality, you need to open yourself to other realities, because maybe on your way somewhere, you may discover that your reality was reality for a time, but not for eternity. Let's see what our panelists have to say about this. What do you think, Carla?
I think it's a great idea. And I'm a little behind on my sharing. So let's start with Victor, please.
Okay. Now, Victor, since you and I talk a lot and we have spoken to each other on several subjects and we have covered almost everything under the sky. And one thing that I think resonates with you is your opinion is not my reality. That is something you live by, because for you, reality is what you make. Reality is what you create, which I know personally. So I would like to know your thoughts. Share your thoughts about what is your reality, Victor Irving Jenkins.
The thing that many of us are searching for is certainty. And in actuality, there is no certainty. There's only how we see things, and broadly, that's our belief. What is actual truth for me is how I feel, the experience that I'm having. And the experience that I'm having is translated by my mind through the data that I'm viewing. I think it's most helpful if everyone would assume, if everyone would just believe that they're the only ones in their world. If you believe that you are the only one in your world, and you believe that everything else that you see or everything else that you perceive was created / manufactured by you, the reason that it appears as it does is because of how you feel about you. If you feel that you are deserving of wonderful things, your mind will show you instances where that's true. If you feel that you are not deserving of wonderful things, your mind will also show you validation of that fact. It's unquestionable that reality is different for everyone. Some people will ask you, they look at famous people, they look at notorious people and says, how did you do what you did? How did you get where you are? Well, the same way that you got where you are. I thought about it, I believed it, and it manifested. The main difference between people is that some people do this by osmosis. Some people simply let this thing happen. But then you have other people that don't just accept every thought that comes out of the air. They sort their thoughts. And whatever thought you meditate on, whatever thoughts you embrace will become your reality. I have decided that between me and everything that I want is the necessity to help somebody else get what they want. Because even if I got what I want, and I didn't have anybody to share it with, for me, that would detract from my enjoyment. That would detract from the sweetness of life. And if you can't have the sweetness of life, why bother sticking around? Well, I want to stick around, so I'm going to translate everything that happens to me to the sweetness. And this is a topic that I could go on for a long time. And if others would embrace the idea of managing their belief, I think we would all create different things, and as a result, have different experiences.
Well said, Victor. I must say that definitely gives us some food for thought, something to ponder over. What about you, Huzaifa? What is your reality?
So hi everyone, I've been having some issues, so I couldn't properly participate till now. But I have been hearing for the last few seconds, and I totally agree with what you guys were saying, that everyone does not have the same reality. We all think different, we all have a different perspective for the world. And there's a pretty cool saying that goes like, everything that we hear is just an opinion, that everything that we hear from other people is just an opinion, it is not a fact. And everything that we see is our perspective, it is not the truth. Meaning that whatever we hear and however we perceive it is different in everyone. So obviously my reality is different from yours, and what you believe is what you become. Meaning if you properly dedicate yourself to become something, indeed you will become. Dreams aren't something that you can just achieve by dreaming it or by magic. Dreams can become reality in the certain ways, such as working really hard and dedicating yourself till the end. So to me, my reality is what I create myself. I imagine the world in my own vision, and then I perceive it different from everyone in this panel. I perceive it differently from Carla, I perceive it differently from Victor, I perceive it differently from Gayathri. So everyone has a different vision. We all have the same sort of eyes, but we have a different vision. And reality can sometimes be hard. It can be the bitter reality rather than the sweeter one. So that's another thing, that you need to face the reality by being properly in the reality. Like when something bad happens in our life, so it's a bitter reality and we mostly don't want to accept it, and we're like, no, this can't be happening, and we try to tell ourselves and others that nothing like this has happened. And while others might accept it, you yourself, your heart won't accept it. So you need to face the reality, face the real challenges in life, as that is what life is. Life is full of surprises, and life can be sour or it can be sweet, but what we make it is what really matters. Sometimes life brings up some consequences and we have to face them, but other times the consequences and the problems are created by our own mistakes and our own actions. And now I'm not saying that doing mistakes or doing wrong actions is a crime, it's illegal, or it's a really wrong thing. But sometimes we make the same mistake again and again and again until it becomes a disaster. So when we make a mistake, we need to know that we should learn from that mistake and we shouldn't repeat it. So that's it. I see everything differently. Although we hear the same words, but when a brain processes it, yes.
There is too much noise in the background. Can you go into a room where there's maybe it's not right? going to interrupt everyone. Thank you. That goes for everyone. If there's a lot of background noise, I need you to find another room. And Huzaifa, I really need you to do that today. Wait.
Okay.
So Huzaifa did touch upon an important aspect of your reality, and that aspect is of denial. How blissful is denial? I love it. Sometimes denial is the place where I love to stay because it keeps me away from all the brutal realities. Like Huzaifa said, that it could be sweet, it could be sour, it could be bitter. I don't mind sweet reality.
No, you can't have Huzaifa with all that background. I'm sorry, that goes for every show I do. He needs to find another room, and then we will bring him back. Go on. I enjoy what you're saying because it makes so much sense.
Everybody, like, I like sweet reality, I like spicy reality, but I may not want a sour or a bitter reality. So as a normal human being, we tend to choose to remain in denial instead of facing the reality. And we start making that denial our reality. Carla, you are a meditation practitioner. You must have heard about something called as toxic positivity.
Right. Go on.
Yes. Toxic positivity.
No such thing.
Oh, Victor, there is. Toxic positivity is when you can see things collapse right in front of you, but you choose to remain in denial. So there needs to be a balance between positivity and reality. While we remain positive, we need to make sure that our feet is firm on the ground of reality. The affirmations that we do in mindfulness meditation or transcendental meditation, they will work provided we know the reality. We are aware that what we are manifesting is yet to happen. So I think what my reality would be positivity, but I have learned it hard way. And today I am proud to say that I'm not a toxic positivity person.
But people get into that because they start to think, because I have a guru, I have to do exactly what the guru says. But a real guru, a real teacher will help the person begin to believe in him or herself. So I would say that part of toxic positivity is not listening to yourself, but listening to what everyone else wants to say to you and tell you to do. And, I work with a really great guy. And one thing I needed to learn to do was to say no when it's not right for me. And that does happen, where I'm asked to do something and it doesn't feel right. I have to go back to who I am and not to who someone else is. Victor, you look like you want to say something.
It is clear that what many thought 100 years ago, they don't think now. So thought evolves. And while your assessment now about this thing called toxic positivity might make sense, as I listen to the terms toxic positivity and understand what you say about it's toxic when you see something in the front of you and you continue to deny its existence. That doesn't land for me as toxic. In fact, one of the quotations that I'd like to be remembered for, because I think that the way that you are describing toxic positivity will change over the next 10, 20, 30 years, and perhaps I will be the thought leader that makes it happen. But if you cannot lie to yourself about something to make you feel better, to make you do better, then what is the point in being able to lie at all? So when you talk about toxic positivity, as you continue to deny, it is my belief that the reality that you seek or the reality that you are preparing for, I think it appears. Even if a drop of water hits a rock constantly over and over for a period of time, when it began, it might have been a rock, but that drop of water will eventually make some dent in the rock, and the rock won't be the rock anymore. So toxic positivity is a new thought for me. I will meditate on it for a while and see if I can embrace it. But there are many things that I have denied over the course of my life, and they've gone away.
And we all do that, Victor. It's nothing unusual. We all, and we don't realize that we are lying to ourselves. And that's the point there, that sometimes we do lie. Sometimes we say things that we should not say to ourselves. And because we say those things, we believe it's a belief. I had a belief that I could never go live on camera in front of people for a long, long time. And then someone came up to me and said, Carla, why don't you teach English to my friends? And I said, how can I do that? I've never taught English in my life. And he said, it was Rehan, and he said, well, you speak it, don't you? And I said, yeah, I've been speaking it for my whole life. You can talk to people. And by talking to people, you learn to speak English. Took a while for me to feel comfortable in the role. In fact, every time I do it, I kind of question, can I do this? Because I never know what's going to happen. I never know what's going to happen in MindPlore until it happens. But the importance of what happens is not what I believe in myself. It is what I see happening. And little by little, that belief that I cannot do it, no, I cannot have that noise in the background. I'm serious. I've asked you to go to another room for that reason.
I think it is, I think it is not about the room. It is about the system. If he wears the earphone, probably then maybe ceiling fan is on. That is a possibility.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe the ceiling fan taken off, turned off. But that noise is distracting and people don't hear because of it. But back to believing in yourself or any belief. They're going to change over time as you begin doing different activities and experiencing different things. I don't think it's that unusual.
So here's the question. You ready?
Sure.
Okay. Are you ever concerned about your reality and its application when you are feeling super, when things are going well. You're never concerned about your reality if you're having a good time, are you?
No. And that's a great point, because when you are feeling fear, your reality becomes a little shaky. And what I mean by shaky, you don't believe in yourself, because you're thinking, oh, I can't do this and I'm not going to do a good job. But when your thoughts are very happy and you're feeling good and you've done that positive thinking, it changes immediately. So, and Abraham Hicks talks about 17 seconds 3 times, and you have changed your thinking. You can catch that begin to catch that immediately as you begin to practice it.
The ability to impact one's reality may reside as impossible for many people. When you think about the 3 domains of knowledge, you have the things that you know and the things that you don't know. And then you have the things that you don't know that you don't know. So the ability to manage your reality by your thoughts, by your beliefs, resides in the arena of things that you don't know for many people. Another thing that resides there is how you are you're preconditioned for the thing that you believe, right? There's an experiment where they had a drawing of an older woman and a drawing of a younger woman, and you could see that based on their age that they were older and younger. And they had 2 groups of people, and then one group of people that showed the drawing of the older woman, and the other group of people that showed the drawing of the younger woman. And then they told them that they were going to get both groups of people in the same group after this experiment. And they told the group that the drawing that they were going to show them, that it was not the drawing that they saw originally, but there's more than one way to look at it. That's all. That's basically all they said. So when they drew the composite of both of the drawings, where depending on how you look at it, you would see an older woman or a young woman, and they asked the group what they saw, invariably, the people who they initially showed the drawing of the older woman, they saw an older woman in this drawing. And the people that they showed the drawing of a younger woman, they saw a younger woman in the drawing. And so the group was divided, and a discussion ensued about whether this was a picture of an older woman or whether this was a picture of a younger woman. And eventually they got to the place, because as they began to analyze the drawing, like this line, this is the chin of the older woman. Goes, no, that's the feather in the hat of the younger woman. And slowly but surely, they came to realize that they were looking at the same drawing. So what we think of as our reality, it's based on something that happened long before that particular instance showed up. So the best that you can do is keep your expectors on and expect something good to turn up no matter what actually turns up. And that might be when the denial part comes in.
And the other thing, Victor, is there are 2 sides to everything. Let me give you an example. We are missing someone today who's supposed to be here because that person is really sick with COVID. I had to make some decisions very quickly. I found out at the last minute. I wish the person had told me earlier. But even so, it's a good move. You know, everything is working itself out. We can't have certain noises in the background. It's not to be mean. It's true for anyone who comes to the show. If there is noise in the background, I remove them. They can sit, they can watch, but they can't be here because it's distracting you. And I'm sorry, but I'm doing it again, Huzaifa. I have to do this. This goes for everyone in the show. It's not just you, it's me, it's Gayathri, it's Victor. If my cat begins yelling, I need to mute myself. If there's noise in my background, I need to mute myself. I am very happy to have you here. However, I need to treat everyone in the same way. And sometimes it's mean. I feel badly about it, but it's something that needs to be done. Every cloud has a silver lining. And let's remember that. There is a reason why things happen as they do. It's just part of life. Gayathri, you look like you have something to say.
I would like to add on to the topic that was being discussed about denial and what you were talking about, perspective. So there are three things that I would like to point out. The first thing is, I say that I don't believe in sun's existence. I say that I don't believe in sun's existence. How does my belief affect sun's existence? The sun continues to exist. My denial is not exactly making any impact on the reality, any difference to the reality. So there are certain realities that we have to identify and capitalize on them and not be in denial about them, because being in denial about them is going to make us somebody who has their head buried in the sand. Second point about the perspective. This is a classic example, not something out of the box that I am coming up with. Person sitting to my right and person sitting to my left, both of them have a different view on the number drawn in front of them. One says it is 6, the other says it is 9. For me, it is neither. It could be either, but for me, it is neither, because I'm not looking at it from one or other side. It could be any of it. So over here, for the person who says it is 9, that is that person's reality, and vice versa for the other person. Basis what the discussion we had, I would like to put forth the third point, something that Aristotle said. Aristotle was Alexander's guru, his philosopher, his guide. And this is what Aristotle said. He who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool. Avoid him. I repeat, he who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool. Avoid him. He who knows not and knows that he knows not is a student. Teach him. I repeat, he who knows not and knows that he knows not is a student. Teach him. He who knows and knows not that he knows is asleep. Wake him. I repeat, he who knows and knows not that he knows is asleep. Wake him. And finally, this great Greek philosopher, Aristotle says, he who knows and knows that he knows is a wise man. Follow him. He who knows and knows that he knows is a wise man. Follow him. I must admit that there was a time period in my life that I was the third person in this space, wherein I knew, but I did not know that I knew. In that time, there was this person called Irving Jenkins who played that part of waking me up. And that is when I started realizing that, okay, maybe I can do it. For a very long time, I believed that I was a little ugly, I was not good looking, and maybe I was not meant for the screen. all of those things, all of those notions, all of those perceptions, beliefs about myself, they kind of, they're nowhere there in my head anymore. Now I don't really care whether I'm good looking or not. I'm beyond that now. So yeah, I was in the third category wherein I was sleeping for a very long time about a few things. And I'm very grateful that Victor woke me up. And I believe Carla also does that job of waking a few people up who are sleeping, who are asleep. And I just feel that what makes us wise is to know when we don't know, to know when we know, and to realize that someone is actually waking us up. And should we decide to be in the first category, then it's difficult to lead life with any kind of reality.
And I believe you just gave me a very big compliment by saying, wait, I woke you up. I think we wake each other up. It's not that one person is better than another. We're all equal, but we all have different jobs to do. And in the jobs that we do, we move forward. We move how we need to move in our own journey. And I think when we go back to believing or not believing in ourselves, it's because someone may have said to us, you can't do that. You've never done that. You didn't come to from a family that did that type of work. You should be a dentist, or you should be a nurse or a teacher. And everyone is told, be this, be that by our parents. Instead of giving a chance for us to grow to where we want to grow. I had a student once who was such an artist, a magnificent artist, but had trouble reading and couldn't read. I got her reading eventually, but it took time and effort. And meanwhile, during that time, she had people, teasing her and bullying her and saying, you can't do this, you can't do that. And part of my job was to say, I don't know who's telling you you can't do something. It may take time, but you can do it. So we need to move those beliefs, which is only a thought that we put into our vortex or our way of life that may not have any reality, that may not have any meaning. Victor, you wanted to speak?
Carla, I always want to speak, but I'm listening to you right now.
Well, I'm giving you an opportunity to speak, Victor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I had a point of view that I wanted to talk, and I think I've said it. Okay, what you don't know, you don't know. Right. So I alluded to the fact earlier that we don't really assess our reality unless things are not going well. If things are not going the way that we want it to go, then we want to look at our reality. And that's the time that I use to get better at what it is I'm doing. Anyone who knows me has heard me say I'm better than I was and not as good as I'm going to be. And that is my reality.
I'm sorry, go on.
And that's my reality. My reality is simply that anything that you do over and over and over, you have to get better at doing it. And if that thing is simply breathing, then you're getting better at breathing. I have taken on this whole self-control thing. And when you embrace self-control, you're not as reactive, you're not as triggering, and realize that when you react, the people that you are in the relationship with for the reaction that you're having, they have an ability to react as well. They have to demonstrate self-control. They have to exhibit self-control. And one thing that self-control causes you to do is to listen. It takes self-control to listen. And I have embraced the whole idea of being able to listen. And I did it simply by making a commitment that when I'm listening to someone, before I respond, I let 3 seconds pass. 1001, 1002, 1003. And the reason I do it that way is because I had a reality where I always interrupted people, where I cut into people's conversation. And they've done studies about the type of individual that will not let other persons speak. So over the course of time, my reality has changed from the guy who knows it all to the guy who is anxious to share what he knows, but is actually able to hear what someone else has to say. And many times that's a diverse opinion from my own. And when you think about violence and fights and disagreements and stuff, it only happens when you don't think about whatever the stimulus is that's making you respond. Because if you think about most things that people say, I mean, it just really doesn't impact you that much. It's what they think. So my reality is that I continue to get better, and I continue to get better by being less reactive, by being less triggering. And finally, one thing that a lot of people say is I love to learn, I want to learn, I'm open for learning. Even though it's a controversial statement, I don't say that I love to learn anymore. I don't say that I want to learn anymore. I'm actually looking to teach. I'm actually looking to bring other people around to the type of thinking that I do, not the exact thing that I think, but the type of thinking that I do, because what you think about, you bring about. And I find that most people are not enjoying themselves. But if you thought properly, you would be enjoying yourself no matter what it is that you're faced with.
And I agree with you. Learning happens only when you stop speaking. And we all want to speak. I have that problem too. You know, sometimes I just want to interrupt and say, hey, do this or do that, instead of staying and listening.
Really? You like that?
I know I've interrupted you, but it comes from that. I want to say that enthusiasm for what you're saying, and we're all learning from each other. I don't care if you're 5 years old or you're 100 years old. You can learn from everyone that comes into your world if you take a moment to listen. Now, hopefully, we have Huzaifa back, and I know he's been working hard to get back. Let's see if he can talk now. We'll give him a chance. Huzaifa, if there's any noise, I'm going to have to mute you again. I'm sorry. But open up your mic and let's find out. Okay.
Okay, is it okay now?
It's better. Actually, there is some noise, but let's see. You muted yourself right away, and that's when it became better. Do you hear the noise that we're hearing?
I don't know what. Well, in between when the child noises came, that was actually my brother crying, and he was trying to come to me, and I fixed that. And then it was the fan, but now I have turned off the fan and there is no one in my room, so I don't know if you guys are hearing anything or not now.
Now it's good. Thank you for
I can't hear you for some reason.
Okay, then I can't talk to you, can I?
Can you hear
Okay.
me? Can you hear me?
You know
Yeah,
what, Huzaifa? Take out of your headphones. That's what the problem is. Take them off and disconnect them. Now can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's what the problem. You're using your laptop, correct? That was the problem. There's a little noise, but it isn't as distracting as it was before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so as I was saying that when we have something bad in our life, we try to deny it. We try to get rid of it in different ways. And one of those ways, in one of those ways, there has to be one time that we try to deny it and not believe it. But that is never the solution, and that always causes more problems and more mistakes. So you can't deny reality. That's how I perceive the world. You can't deny reality, and you can't deny what's happening to you. All you can do is focus on what you want, believe on what you want, and achieve success. There's a saying that goes, think with all your mind, believe with all your heart, and try to achieve it with all your strength. When you combine these three things together, you'll automatically get a happy life and success. So, and real life is never what you will dream or what you'll expect it to be. It is always going to be different, but we can change some parts of our life by focusing. And the true purpose of our lives, there's one common purpose of our lives. We all are unique and we have different purposes in our lives, but there's one common thing, that we, in order to fulfill our purpose, the purpose is to be happy. We need to be happy. Now, I'm not saying be happy in all aspects of life. Like if someone died and in their funeral you're laughing and you're telling jokes. So I don't mean happy like that. But you still need to perceive positive things enough that you don't make good things as a bad impression. So your perception is what creates your reality. It's just a simple word, perception or perceiving, but that is what can change your life. It is a factor that can change everything. And I actually like what Mr. Victor said, that he interrupted people, and I still have that problem, and I don't know if I like that or not, or if it is a good thing or not. But my parents are always saying that I should stop doing that because it's kind of annoying, but it's automatic. Whenever someone speaks, mostly when I interrupt, I am trying to correct them or I am trying to say something for myself. So my father always says that you should stop interrupting people and let them finish before you talk. You're always trying to talk before everyone. And I don't have anything to say. I'm speechless because that is the truth. And sometimes I get so bumped up and I say to myself, maybe that's who I am. Why does he want not to me? Whoa, sorry, Mrs. Pelt. I want to say that sometimes I think that why is my father angry? That's just who I am. Why can't he let me be? But sometimes I think that I have to face the reality and I have to admit that it's a bad thing, or I have to admit that I've gotta make that stop. So you create your own reality on how you perceive things.
Huzaifa,
Right.
when I was a boy, your age and younger, the prevailing point of view, and this is just to compare with what your father is telling you about interrupting people. In my world, the rule of the day was children, of which I was one, should be seen and not heard. And the only time a child was to speak was when an adult asked him something. Now, for me, that was troubling. You're in a different world because you are allowed to speak. In fact, your challenge is that they won't let you keep speaking. So I would like for you to simply think about how it was for me. And I was a precocious kid, kind of like you. I always had something to say. But I never got a chance to say anything because I was told children are seen and not heard. Now, what do you think your reality would be like if your father told you, Huzaifa?
I wasn't trying to take that in, but my father tells me that you should make this a rule for yourself. It's not impossible. You should just keep your mouth shut. When he's angry, he said, just keep your mouth shut in front of someone. Like a few days earlier, we went to a guest house and it was my father, me, and my two brothers, just us, and the others were at home. So when we reached there, we were having a conversation, and she's my, you could say, like grandma. So she said something to my father, and my father replied. It was something about me. So my father replied, and I was trying to correct him that no, that's not how I am. And mostly I do that. That no, I don't do this. Like I argue, which is a bad thing, and I'm scolded about that as well. But that's where I started to realize that it might not be bad to be always speaking and interrupt that much. For me, I know it's bad, but sometimes it just feels good to make yourself clear to everyone. So, and then I realized that sometimes I start arguing and I'm not listening to my parents, and that pisses them out very, very much. And when that happens, they give me that death stare, and I know I'm in trouble. So everyone, as you said, that you had a different life and I have a different, and I perceive things differently. So my father also scolds me, and he also tells me not to interrupt. But it's not as the same way as your father used to, as the adult in your childhood used to. Like they used to tell you that children are seen, they're not heard, and you used to put up challenges. And my way of visioning the world is sort of like the challenges one, but my father doesn't scold me like that. He just makes me understand. He just says and explains everything to me, that why I should keep my mouth shut at certain points. So again, our way of perceiving things is very different, and it varies from how we focus on things and what we focus on and how we want things to be. So mostly we are very worried about our failures and what we have done to ourselves. So one more thing, that you don't need to worry that much about your failures. What you do need to worry is that how you are going to make the next time better and not fail again. There is no one I've ever heard of, there is not a single successful person I've heard of that has gained success, that has gained happiness, complete happiness in their lives without failing and becoming sad for once. So that's okay, that's part of life, that is reality, that is what you need to expect from life and accept it. So what you believe will become your reality, and life will throw some hard things at you, but you need to find a way to dodge them and even catch something to throw at life back. Now what I'm saying is, some people won't understand me. I'm saying that life is full of surprises, and it will sometimes amaze you in a good way and in a bad way. So you don't need to get that pissed out about that, and you just need to be yourself and believe what you want to be, and that's all.
So when you say believe what you want to be, some people are afraid to believe in it. And it's natural to be afraid to believe in it. I mean, I think I wanted to do this all my life. And most of my life I was told, oh, you can't do this. You have a weird voice. You have blah, blah, blah.
A weird voice, huh?
Oh, yeah. But
Huzaifa's laughing.
it's purposely. We need to think about closing very soon, too. But if I didn't believe in myself, and if I didn't have someone who believed in me enough to say, hey, Carla, you can do this, I wouldn't be doing it. We need to take the opportunity to come our way and knock on that door. Or when it knocks on our door, open it. Don't be afraid to be who you are. We do need to begin to close up, and let's start with ending remarks now. And I'm going to start with Huzaifa. Very, very short, some ending remarks that you would like to say about
I just want to answer that what you said, that some people are afraid of believing the reality, or they're afraid that they might not want to be what they want to be. So if you don't believe your reality, take a step back, think about it for a moment, and then create your own reality. It's the rule of life. Either believe it, or if you don't believe reality, take a step back, think about it for a little while, for some moments, and then start creating your own reality. So that's my message to all of you. So just create your own reality, and don't listen to people if they're trying to pursue you away from what you really love, away from your passion, away from what you really want to do. Don't listen to them, because what you hear from everyone is just an opinion, it's not a fact. And how other people and you perceive the world is just your vision, it's just how you it's just your perception. It's not truth, it's not reality. You are the one to create your own reality. That's all.
Well, actually, we don't create our reality. It's already there. We can either live our reality or deny it and say, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to be talking.
No, I didn't mean in that way, not in simple words. I meant that.
Please finish. What we are saying is that your reality is already there. It's learning to believe in it and go forward. And Huzaifa, I would love to hear what you have to say, but we need to think about finishing the show now.
Okay.
Thank you, Huzaifa. Mr.?
I'll simply close with two words. Make your reality to enjoy wanting.
Great. Or understand that wanting is part of reality. Gayathri.
My closing remarks would be, Huzaifa, can I request you to please mute yourself? Thank you so much. For me, my closing remarks would just be that my denial is not going to change the reality. So I'm going to embrace the reality. I'm going to face the reality, and I'm going to conquer it.
But are you really conquering it, or are you just facing who you are?
I'm conquering it in the way that, like Victor said, that he had a problem, that he would interrupt. But now he is changing as a person. So first he accepted the reality. Next step, he faced the reality. And now that he's a transformed person, he has conquered the reality. So I believe that at some point, in some cases, I have conquered the reality, and there are other cases wherein maybe I'm facing them, but I'm sure I'll conquer them at some point. I'm on the track.
I just don't like that word conquer for this. And the reason I don't like it is that the reality is already created. We already own it. And what's keeping us from owning it is our own mindset saying we are not ready to do it. But that's a different topic, and it can't be answered in 2 minutes at all. We can talk about it next week or a little on Thursday again. Having said that, I want to thank everyone who watched, and then everyone who's been here, Huzaifa, Victor, Dr. Gayathri. She's not used to me saying Dr. Gayathri, but that's okay. We can deal with that. And we will be back on Thursday for another edition of MindPlore. And we're also going to have someone returning who hasn't been here for a long time. And I am very anxious to have this person back on the show. It'll be a surprise for everyone. But remember, Thursdays were pretty well set for a long time for those who have been watching. And also, if you want to support us, feel free to go to YouTube and GiggleFest University and subscribe. The more subscribers, the more it'll help to keep the show on air. Can we wave goodbye, everyone? Bye.
Bye.
And now